Drag queen. The phrase conjures up many different thoughts and images. Intrigue, fascination, confusion, and even repulsion. These are some of the words that may come to mind when thinking about a drag queen. But thoughts and opinions aside, the average person doesn't always have a clear understanding of what drag is all about. Ryan Schulz has been a big part of the Perth drag scene over the last 4 years. I spoke to him about his involvement and the creation of his drag queen alter ego, the fabulous Panache.
I remember as far back as going to Grandma's house and, hopping in her high heel shoes and popping on dresses, and I don't think Grandpa approved, but Grandma was happy to, let me do my thing. And then I think as I grew up and played with Mum's lipstick and makeup and, Mum would come home to this smeared red face and all that, and so I probably didn't have quite the talent I do now as I did back then. From there, I may have been around 10 years old or so, but I remember seeing the film called The Birdcage and absolutely fell in love with the idea that a man could be on stage as a woman. And I hardly knew I was gay back then, but the idea was just like, oh my God, that's amazing. Like it's the idea popped into my head. And I probably still would have pursued drag had I not seen that film, but it was definitely a film that said, oh my God, this is possible and you can do that. Anyway, I was about 18 years old, went to my first gay club and saw a drag show. And it wasn't a dance mix, it wasn't a comedy or a theatrical piece, it was a real serious emotional ballad. It was I can't remember the song itself, but it was just something I sat there and watched from the bar, and there was just this drag queen just miming to this amazing emotional piece, and I was sitting there thinking in my head, that's amazing that this person adopting this character or this diva that's, from a pre-recorded piece can make me feel like I'm watching it, and the emotion that I was feeling, and I thought, that is something I could do, that's something I want to do. It was only when I saw that show, and I suppose that spark from the Birdcage years ago, and dressing up just all snowboard together, and all of a sudden I was like, I can do this. So I went down to an op shop one day, got the courage, and bought a dress, and it was a very scary experience. Went to the counter, put it through, popped the dress on at home, popped some fake boobs in. I may have just used socks at that point. And looked in the mirror and was like, oh my gosh, like what a feeling. Then one of my friends did drag at the time, still does drag, and I said to him, just do a drag face on me, just do it. And he did it, and I looked in the mirror and I was like, this is what I want to do, this is amazing. And I was pulling all these poses in the mirror, because literally when that face goes on, you re-sculpture your face, because, underneath the makeup, you're redesigning your face structure with aqua colours, which you then put makeup on top of, and you're just a completely new person, you're completely different. And that's one of the first things people say to you when they see you in drag for the first time is, oh my God, you look so different. And I remember my auntie came to see one of my first shows, and I remember walking up to her, and she was at the bar, and she sort of looked at me and looked away, and looked at me as I come walking closer and looked away, and she had no idea it was me. And I walked up and I was like, hello, and she goes, Ryan? And I was like, yes. And she was like, who is this woman approaching me?
So Ryan, how did you come up with your drag name, Fab Panache?
The actual name for Fab Panache is just Panache. So that started when I wanted drag to be what I wanted to do with my life. I really actually sat down, a lot of people sit down and go, I'll be Miss this or Miss that, or sort of funny names and such. But I was like, no, this is something I seriously want to take on board and pursue. So I said, what do I want to represent? And looking back at all the things that influenced me to take on this career, I suppose you could say, the ballad, is very elegant. The Birdcage, the way the characters in that take their performance on is very classy and has quite a stance about it. And I suppose I looked at myself and what I would be wearing, what I'd be pursuing, what I'd be doing, and where I wanted to take it. And I thought, well, I want to represent class, and I want to have a stance about me, and I want this gracefulness and elegance. And I had a hunt through the dictionary and, I sort of looked at a few different names of a few different organisations and beauty spas and all this sort of stuff and what different names represented. So it was actually quite in-depth for me before I decided what my name would be. And then I came up with Panache, which coincidentally means elegance and class and glamour and all this. So it was Panache, and I became known as Panache.
Hello, my sweets, and welcome to a party with Panache, your gig guide to Perth City. First of all, let me say, the Burswood, having blown us away with Chicago, brings us...
Getting ready for me is a routine, because I live in Ocean Reef with my partner, but we don't have enough room for Panache's wardrobe because it is literally 2 rooms full of shite. So Panache remains with my parents in my old bedroom and their living room. So getting ready, it's sort of a nice breathing moment. So once I get to Laming, sit down, put the face on, depending what type of face I'm doing, whether it's quite a small, dainty face or a larger, dramatic face, it might take me from 1 to 2 to 3 hours to just do the makeup. And then getting ready, you've got bloody 5-6 layers of stockings to put on to cover up the leg hairs and make your leg look absolutely smooth and wonderful. And that you always get comments of that. Women will always be like, oh my God, your legs, I wish I had your legs. And you're like, 6 layers of stockings, darling. That's all it is. And then, and then the lashes. Lashes, I hate putting lashes on, but, you must put them on because they do complete the look, and without them, it's a sense of laziness, I suppose. But they look amazing once you put them on. And, coat them with mascara and just all the colours. Once it all comes together, the wig goes on, the makeup's on, the dress goes on. Sometimes you might do a bit of shading to make it look like you have boobs. And once it's together, you just look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, oh, you are a stunner. But, it's fantastic.
We understand what's going on in the world based on our own collective experiences within it. It's safe to say that a large majority of people don't have much of an idea about what drag really is purely because they have never experienced it for themselves. I was interested to ask Ryan about the different reactions he got from both his family and also from people he didn't know at all.
It's funny to me that the way the human body works and the way some things are perceived to be okay to others and some things aren't. But so the reactions I get are just completely... depends where I am, completely separate to the world. Definitely there is negative attitude out there about drag, and I can understand that we've all grown up in different eras and generations, and we've all got different backgrounds and theories, and the world wouldn't be what it is if we didn't, because everyone is different. But I think the thing people need to know is that we're not out there to do it to hurt them, and we're not out there, we're doing it because we love it. Obviously, being gay, before I even told them I was doing drag, I had to come out as a gay male to them, which, was actually really no surprise. When it came to telling them I was doing drag, in a way, it was like coming out all over again. Because although they accepted me as being gay, the thought of putting on a dress and taking on this other character, who knew how they could take that? Like, some people, I've heard stories of people taking it as, as work from the devil or being mentally ill or all these sorts of things. When I told my dad, he said to me, well, okay, so you've told us that you're gay. And he was very accepting of me being gay. But I suppose this was very new to him. And he said, and now you want to do drag, so does this mean that you later want to become a woman? And I was like, no. I very much like being a boy. I love being a boy. So I suppose it took him a while to understand that, but now he understands it completely. I think with time and experience, people can learn and understand, and that's all he needed, and he had that, and now, he's so supportive. He comes to my shows, always asking me how the production I'm currently doing is going, and yeah, he's really, really good. Best father I could have. The attention you get when you're a drag queen, you're doing something that no one sees day to day, so you all of a sudden you feel like this glamorous icon, and it is literally a moment for you to escape from reality and become this other person and just live it. I will go on stage, I will put on the makeup and the wig and the dress, and I will be Liza Minnelli for a night. I will be Tina Turner for a night. I will interpret my own performance as a woman, as a female for that night. And for me, it is a profession that I've taken on board, so you do have to keep it separate in life. Too many people I see try and do stuff they like and do all this stuff on the side, and it's like, that's not what you want to be doing. Like, go out and do it. And that's what I told myself. I was like, you know, don't feel like you have to work for the retailer. Don't feel like you have to do this daytime job and then go out at night and become this other person. Be that person. So that's what I did, you know.
You can catch Ryan performing as Panache from the 5th of July at the Blue Room Theatre, where he will be showcasing his production, which is simply titled Drag.